What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm back with my lovely wife Sarah, who's going to give you an update on her Primo cycle. I shot a video relatively recently talking about what my experience has been with her 24 milligram cycle, and as predicted, it fucking cursed the entire thing. I think it was likely less that it cursed it and more to do with the fact that we are both want to try to describe how a inundate cycle is running prior to like the 5-week mark, which is when you really start to get all of the side effects that you're going to get. And I did in fact mention that in that video, that we were likely not seeing everything that was going to be seen. So Sarah has a list here. I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna try to shut the fuck up and let her give her point of view on how this cycle's going for her so far.
So first of all, I would say that it's providing a lot of the desired results. So I think that I've had some huge strength gains in the gym. So like sometimes, like even tonight on a leg press, where I've bumped it up 50, 75 pounds from, I'm warming up with higher than I was maxing out at before the Primo. I'm 5.5 weeks in. So, right, exactly 5.5 weeks in. So, even like on arm day, I'm up like 30 pounds on some of my bicep curls. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's been really shocking. I mentioned I think in my video that when she first told me that she was experiencing all these strength gains on what we thought was we honestly thought, or at least I thought, that this was a dose of Primo that she possibly was not going to feel at all. Because what limited data I had found out there said that basically 50 milligrams per week was the floor for a female. There was one girl who was like 200 milligrams or don't even fucking bother. And so we thought it was possible she was going to feel nothing. And she started reporting crazy strength gains inside of 2 weeks that have only gotten better.
Yeah, like shoot, way better. And I'm having, like, I'm lean, and I'm having, like, I even was measuring yesterday, was it?
Yeah.
And I put on like 1/2 inch on my biceps, but I'm much leaner. I've put on 1/4 inch on my calves. I can't remember everything, but overall, I've increased my size in almost every way. I think 3/4 inch on my quads. Like, it was pretty significant in 5.5 weeks. So,
it's worth mentioning before she changes up. So she has a decidedly leaner physique, and I don't want to just say leaner because you get caught up. She has a drier and leaner physique. So not just body fat reduction, we're talking about a reduction in body water and potentially body fat, and she's still seeing net positive gains. So clearly there's a recomping effect, and I told her last night that I feel like 1/2 fucking inch on your biceps in 4 weeks on a fucking long ester. Like, I would be over the fucking moon if I could put 4 inches on 1/2 inch on my biceps in very short order on a dry compound that is taking water off of my frame while putting muscle on. So
the place that doesn't seem to be helping so much is my waist.
You're insane.
My waist has increased in size.
Okay.
My waist has increased in size, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of fat there. Like when I'm pinning that GH, I mean, I'm having trouble even getting enough skin so that I don't put the needle through twice.
So what specifically are you taking, and how are you taking it?
I'm taking 2 IUs of GH every morning, and I'm taking 24 milligrams of Primo every week. I had been doing it 24 milligrams on Sunday, and then not this past Sunday, but the one before. Mike was like, split it up and do 1/2 and 1/2. So I've been doing 12 on Sunday and 12 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not a proponent of shooting long esters once a week. I know you can, but I just think it's better to get less peak and trough. And I know a lot of guys are out there trying to pin them every day. I think twice a week is the sweet spot for long esters. So she's been doing that since. Admittedly, since she started pinning it twice a week, I think she's more symptomatic. So I don't know whether that's coincidental or not, but the gains are certainly there.
It's also worth mentioning that I also take inject a milligram of depo-estradiol every week too. So while I'm trying to lean out, I'm also injecting something that's kind of working against me. So.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree it's working against you, but I mean, if not for the fact that you were injecting exogenous estradiol while on Primo, that some people argue is a suicide aromatase inhibitor, like, I think that you would be in trouble. And you have experienced, I'm sure it's on your list. Yeah, I'll let you go.
I have experienced some reduced estrogen effects. So for specifically the vaginal dryness. So which is something I've battled for my entire life, and then we really gotten that sorted out with the estrogen, and then I started the Primo and started dealing with the dryness again, although it wasn't like before the estrogen at all, but back to using lube and things like that. And then,
but like a drop of lube rather than sometimes multiple applications.
But then it went to, then I got the, that seems to be sorted out for the most part. Now we're still, would you disagree with that? Like, it's much better than it was when it started.
Yeah, it is stabilized for sure, and it's intermittent. So there's a lot of variables. Obviously, as I've talked before, our sexual repertoire is variable to say the least, and so there are definitely there's definitely a net reduction in overall lubrication, but it's definitely stabilized, and it's minor at best.
Yeah. So then also along that vein, I've definitely had some clit enlargement. So some. I mean,
there's been some growth. Yeah.
It's very sensitive, and I've even had some sexual desire. So I even, like, one day, I can't remember, a few days ago, it was like I was so miserable during the day, like, because I had such a physical need. So I often have a mental or psychological need, but not a great physical need. And this was like weighing, like physically weight is what it felt like. So much so that I was like texting Mike at dinner, like, dude, hurry up and let's go get this taken care of because I can't function.
She literally shut down our post-dinner chat with the kids to run to the fucking bedroom for a quickie. I haven't even told her what I'm getting ready to say. I did some research on what she's describing as this heaviness. I actually was looking at this the other night, and I think what she's actually experiencing is something that I didn't really know occurred, and I think a lot of people don't know that it occurs. And I think she's experiencing it to a greater degree than most women do because of the clitoral enlargement that she's experiencing. But I think what she's actually experiencing is called female erection. And so apparently the clitoris is obviously anatomically similar to a little penis, obviously, as we found out from the trans community, who are turning their clitorises into penises. And when they succeed in doing this, they are able to actually get erections. So all women, even the absence of playing with hormones, whether to make a change or, well, whether to become a man or whether to get muscles, apparently all females experience a female erection, which is a swelling of the clitoris. It's just generally very, very minor. And so I think what she's actually experiencing is just that now she has more of a clitoris to become erect. And so she's feeling something more similar to what us guys feel when we get turned on and there's, something fucking going on down there.
Yeah, it feels like previously I would have said, like, my physical arousal was like a buzzy. I used to say it was like a buzzing feeling, like a buzzy. And this is like a literal, like, wave. I told Mike it feels almost like there's a water balloon down there that is like swelling, and it's.
Well, there apparently is. So we've also been researching. She is, as I mentioned in my video, is her orgasmic response, and I'm sure it's on her list, is out of control. And because I get irritated with people in the comments like, she's pissing on you, there's no such thing as squirt. I think I linked in one of my videos some really good videos that were produced by a doctor. If I haven't linked those before, I will link them here. Going into the female Skene's gland and all of the tests that they've been doing, and that they found that in women who squirt, the fluid that they ejaculate contains PSA, which stands for prostate specific antigen. It's only found in the prostate of men and apparently in the Skene's glands of women. And so women who squirt are in fact having a true female ejaculation. This is not just urine. There is definitively urea in the fluid to some greater or lesser degree, but it is a genuine release of true fluid that is not coming from the bladder, and it does seem to build up inside of her depending on her arousal state.
And there's been a lot of it. So there are no mats, no special things that will hold it, and we just sleep on towels every night afterward, and it's like, it's a lot, and it's multiple times in an act.
Yeah, every time. So we've gone from a position where on this channel she's reported not even really having an interest in sex a few times a week, or certainly not having a physical need that was greater than a few times a week at tops, to we are having foreplay where she has a squirting orgasm from foreplay every single night since the Primo kicked in, and then in every single sexual experience. So then we have sex afterwards and she squirts at least one time, sometimes two times, generally just one time in every single act except for last night when I thought I was having a fucking stroke in the middle of it and had to just pull the plug on the entire event. So barring last night, she's had a minimum of 2 squirting orgasms, I believe, every single day.
And several times it's been more like 3 or 4.
For the past, I don't know how long.
Almost like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been really great.
So this has definitively ruled out any doubt, and this is doubt that she and I have because we've tested it. She's taken testosterone only. She's taken Anavar only. She's had obviously just her hormone replacement with no androgens of any kind. And in our marriage, there's been an ongoing debate as to whether or not, and this is true in the community at large, doctors still try to argue that there's no evidence that testosterone or androgens improve a woman's libido or improve her ability to orgasm or her orgasm latency. And I'm fucking telling you, in this isolated one-party case, the fucking jury is in. 100% androgens, especially Primo, definitively reduce orgasm latency, increase orgasmic response, increase physical sensation, and increase physical desire.
Yeah.
Would you agree 100% with that?
Yes, Primo more than anything else. Even like back when it was, I was on that outrageous amount of testosterone.
Yeah.
I had that when I became a man, but that was, even then it was more of a, almost like a compulsion.
Yeah.
But not the kind of desire that I'm having now. Like the other day I was telling him, when I was texting him, I'm like, I can't even look at you because if I look at you, like I'm so turned on, like I can't even, I'm like trying to, have this time with the kids and stuff, and I'm just like looking down at my plate and it was just ridiculous. And so that's lovely, and I will take that any day of the week over the kind of, I could or I couldn't, whatever, So.
I've made jokes, and I mentioned this in my video about it, that I said, welcome to manhood. She's literally, for the first time in life, starting to experience what a true nagging libido actually feels like.
Well, I think it's kind of important to mention that, like, my clitoral enlargement, it's not like it's not like something crazy, like out of the norm. Like it's not like some. It's just enlarged for me.
Yeah, relative to her.
Yeah. So
it's not. Don't be thinking that. Well, like we've said, some people have seen it. There's probably gonna be more pictures of it coming up soon. Maybe we should do a whole OnlyFans special on. We should do like a special photo set of like starting clitoris, Anavar clitoris, Primo clitoris.
Yeah, we can work on that.
I wonder what we could sell that set for.
Anyway.
That's good data right there, actually.
Yeah, I love when you make me a science experiment. So, more though, that a couple of negatives. My voice is definitely affected. Don't you agree?
Yeah, her voice is deeper.
So, which is one of my concerns. But what it actually feels like is like, you know, when you're like, oh, I think I'm starting to get sick, and it feels in your throat. It feels kind of raspy and like you need to clear your throat, but there's nothing there to clear, so it's kind of like swollen or inflamed. It doesn't hurt, but it feels like that, where it's kind of like I think maybe I need to clear my throat, but then there's nothing ever there. That's what it feels like. Again, kind of swollen and heavy. So maybe it's just all of that that moist tissue all over.
I told her in the beginning that she needed to. She hasn't done anything I told her. I told her she needed to record a video of her voice. I told her she needed to sing notes, because you have to understand, like, I'm not one of these guys that cares about these side effects. Like, I see on X and various forms of social media all the time, anytime there's a woman with any amount of muscular on her frame, those of you in the bodybuilding community will be familiar with some of these names, like Bakar Nabiava, Isa Nunez are two of my favorites. You know, any of the big time, big name, you know, wellness or fitness girls, you know, that have a substantial amount of muscle on their frame. Most men do not find this attractive. They say they look like men, etc., etc. And I don't understand that at all. I'm very attracted to muscular women. I don't care if her voice, if she totally destroys her voice. I don't want her to grow a penis, but like her clit could get substantially larger than it is now, and it wouldn't bother me. And so, like, I'm basically of no help, and I've told her that, like, you've got to draw your own lines in the sand as to what's acceptable and what's not, you know, because, you know, I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. So I mean, maybe if there's anybody in the audience who has been watching this channel from day one, there are a lot of videos of Sarah from two years ago, not a lot, but there's videos of Sarah from a few years ago. Or if any of you hear her, you know, infrequently enough to notice, do you think that there's a change in her voice? Does she sound different today than in some of her previous videos? Obviously, we could get off our asses and go back and watch our own videos, yeah. But I think there's definitely a change.
And there are going to be people that comment anyway and tell me I sound like a man and I look like a man and that I'm ruining myself.
Yeah, but they have like fucking 3-inch dicks and haven't gotten laid in 20 years. So.
The other really big negative for me is the acne. So at first it blew up on my face, and that was really unfortunate, but that seems to be subsiding, and it seems to be more on my shoulders and my back. And I don't know.
You can go to the camera.
I don't know if you can see that. Like, yeah, you definitely can. But it's super embarrassing, and I fucking hate it. But there's...
Come over here. Let me focus on it. So you can see, like, it's not like outrageous. There's some spots. And turn your whole shoulder around. So like on her back, you can see like there's just tiny little. You lean up a little bit. Right there. There's tiny little dots on her back. It's not like big cystic acne.
No, not at all.
But it's definitely.
It's definitely. It's there, and it wasn't. So it's like I get the more of the arms and the shoulders and everything that I want to wear something skimpy or strapless, and then I've got covered in acne. So I don't know. We'll see if that kind of works itself out. Then there have been the psychological effects. So first of all, I'm fixating, which is something I always do on this kind of thing. So I'm fixating, and I'm having trouble transitioning. So I get really excited about whatever I'm doing in the moment, and I'm just doing it. And anytime somebody is like pulling me away, I get frustrated. Or actually, I don't even think that I'm feeling so frustrated, but I'm definitely putting it out there. It's been a source of tension.
Yeah, so I said in my video, unfortunately, that she was not experiencing any of the typical Varbot type of symptoms. And while I wouldn't call this Varbot, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. This has definitely fucking changed her personality significantly. Like every single, like we'll be laying in bed. We've been watching Deadwood, for example, and I'm not terribly interested in this show. It seems to be like a show about nothing, where nothing really happens. And she's engrossed in it. And so I'll be on like looking at reels, or I'll be looking at shit on X, and I'll be constantly pausing the show to show her something that I've just read that I think is interesting or whatever. And usually she kind of rolls with it. And she's showing a lot of like clear annoyance with me constantly interrupting the show. Like if I text her in the gym, she like I told her last night, I was like, you couldn't possibly seem fucking any any less interested in basically anything I have to say. And I'm shocked at how little it's been bothering me. I think if it wasn't for the fact that I have God mode trend in the system on top of Anadrol and a million other things, I might be more bothered by it. I've just been like fucking ignoring her irritability and texting her a million times anyway. But it's definitely changed her attitude for the negative.
You even mentioned like, it's like just once I transition, it's fine. And I do seem happy to listen, right? To pay attention to what you're saying once I transition. No,
it seems totally fake.
Oh.
You seem totally disinterested across the board. So where like, and the thing is like this is the trouble with steroids, is because I don't believe that steroids change your personality. I think they enhance it. And so like I was telling her last night, like I'm concerned that you're never really interested in what I have to fucking say. You're just much better at hiding it and pretending to be interested in what I have to say when you're not on cycle. And now that you're on cycle, it's impossible for you to actually do a very good job of feigning interest. And so it becomes very apparent every time I try to express some, admittedly meaningless little thing, and she just doesn't seem to fucking care at all.
But I don't feel the disinterest necessarily that he think that I'm conveying. So I'm not feeling it the same way, but clearly I'm conveying something. So, and it's not just with him either.
Yeah.
Like it's with the kids too. Like I'm struggling a little bit in that too. But whereas in the past we've, like the Anavar gives me this kind of face, and it makes me really like it'll give me a headache from furrowing my brow and being like, it just makes me grouchy and irritable. And this, I don't feel that way. In fact, so I've been keeping this laugh journal, and to determine how often I'm laughing. Mike had mentioned it a long time ago, not a long time ago, but a few months ago, and he was like, I want you to do this, because he was talking about how I change with PMS or PMDD or whatever it is. And so I had been keeping this, he asked me before to keep the laugh journal, and it was terrible. Like around PMS time, I've got like 2 laughs for the whole day or whatever. Well, on this, I'm consistently like 28, 30 laughs for the day, like with him, with the kids, when we're not fighting, with him, with the kids, with, all kinds of, I'm laughing at TV, and there still seems to be like quite a bit of mirth and levity, not the same kind of intensity that I have with the Anavar.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking really honestly comment too much on this. I have not been doing, as you know, I made a video recently. I've been going through my own shit. And so I have a very negative view of the world right now. I don't feel very good today, honestly. It's why I had to go get something to drink. My stomach's pretty upset. So I don't really want to comment a lot. I'm afraid that my opinion on her attitude is too subjective at this point to be fair, and I'm just gonna leave this one alone. I feel like shit today, and so I don't want to cast, a disparaging negative light on something that may have more to do with me than it does to you.
Well, then I'm going to run through what I think the other effects are, psychological effects. I feel very confident for the most part in pretty much everything. So I'm way less wishy-washy. Typically I'm like, I don't know, whatever. If you want to do it, I don't care. Yeah. And I don't feel that way. It's like I want. And that's what I was telling Mike. I was texting him the other day, and I'm like, one of the things this is doing is making me want. I want to watch Deadwood. So instead of saying, what do you want to do? I say, hey, I'm going to go watch TV. I'd like to watch Deadwood if you want to come. If not, I'm going to watch something else for a while. So I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to have sex. I'd like to have it right now. So, and I don't think like I'm trying not to put pressure on you, but I just have desires. Usually I'm like, ugh, time to pick what's for dinner. What do you want for dinner? What is somebody? And now I'm like, I haven't asked anybody, I think, in weeks, because I'm like, this is what I want, so I'm going to make this. Or this is what I want to make, so I'm going to make this. It's very, I don't know if it's making me more selfish or just more in tune with my own desires. So either way, for me, it feels like a boon. But
it has definitely been a positive. I hate being asked what I want for fucking dinner. I've talked about this on my channel several times. It's like, who gives a shit? We eat the same 6 or 8 things every week. Just make whatever the fuck. And 9 times out of 10, like, I'm just down for whatever. At night, like when it's our time, very rarely is there anything in life, that I'm really excited about. If there's a show I really want to see, then I'll fucking say that. But, there's like a handful of things that I really genuinely care about. And she'll be constantly asking me, well, what do you want to do? And it's like, I don't care. What do you want to do? Well, what do you want to do? And I fucking hate that. And so it's been so great that she just is like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Because I'm the kind of person that I just want to be a provider. Like I have that prototypical male thing where it's like, tell me what you want so that I can give it to you. I don't like to play the fucking mind games. Just tell me what you want so I can say yes, 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 yes. That's what makes me feel good as a man. And so this has been so much better where she just tells me what she wants and I go, cool. And then we fucking do it.
Whereas usually when we do the, what do you want? Oh, I don't know, what do you want? And then it's like, okay, well, I just make a decision, but it could be eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like, it doesn't matter. And this is very much like, and a lot of times I'm just trying to guess what he really wants, but what he's not saying to me or whatever. And now I'm just like, I'll say what I want. And if he doesn't want to, he can say it. Like, and if he doesn't, then I guess he wants to, or he doesn't care. And it feels, I'm way less affected by it. And that's one of the things that I feel like is positive, but might be negative.
Keep going.
It can have a little bit of negativity. I'm very direct and resolute. So I've been in my communication, like I've been really direct. I'm not sugarcoating things in the way that I typically do, and I think that's sometimes been a little bit problematic, but I don't feel the need to, or maybe I should be feeling the need, but I haven't been handling Mike with kid gloves in the way that I typically do, and even the kids, I'm more aggressive, for sure.
She's fucking less patronizing.
Yeah.
She's just fucking, like I was saying in my video, she's just operating more like a man. It's just black and white, linear, this is what it is, take it or fucking leave it.
Yeah.
No walking on eggshells, no fucking dancing around the truth.
It feels wonderful to me.
She just says shit, and it's so much fucking better for me.
And so also, it's like, usually I'm like, oh man, like if we were at a restaurant, I want 19 different things. So I'm like trying to decide, or well, maybe I'll just have a little bit of this or a little bit of that. I'm the person that the appetizer trios or whatever, those are all made for people like me. I can't decide, so I just want it all. And then this is like, I've decided I'm saying my piece, and then take it or leave it, done. And I don't care to discuss it because I already said what I think. Very confident in what I think, whether right or wrong. And so it's causing a little bit of a problem, but I'm trying.
It's just an adjustment. It's just different. It's just like she goes through with my cycles where I'm, like, especially with Trent, like that's the thing, like to some degree, this has kind of been like fucking female Trent, honestly. Yeah. In just how much of an effect it's had. So you have your wife that's, the same way for basically 9 years, and then all of a sudden you have this set of completely uncharacteristic, atypical behaviors. And I think the only reason that it hasn't been a bigger problem is because they're so similar to they're so obviously caused by the Primo. It's just roid. It's just masculine type of fucking behaviors. And so when, we had a not small fight recently, and the only way I was able to fucking, I think, keep my shit together and try to right the fucking ship was just because it just was so obvious. Like, dude, this is definitively steroid based. And that's not just her. Like, I had fucking, like an idiot, decided to up my fucking trend from 300 to 350. So I was having a little bit of increase. And then she's peaking on fucking Primo. And then we're arguing about something that has to do with my daughter. That's just a situation where it's like, she's just not fucking comfortable with even having the discussion. And
I was quite confident and resolute.
And, and so, like, from my perspective, she's making a decision that's completely not based in any kind of logic or reason. It's a purely emotional one. And that coincidentally was what was the trigger. Had she been making that decision from what I would consider the roid side of the brain, it probably would have been a completely different scenario. But I got triggered by, like, what was still left of her female brain. And then she reacted to my aggression with very roid type aggression, and that shit fucking went off. And so
it did not go well. I think I'm one of the things is that I'm less tolerant also. So I'm less tolerant that for Mike and the kids. Like, while I don't feel irritable at all, I'm less affected emotionally. So, like, usually if Mike says something, I'm like, oh, well, but I feel this way, or I feel that way, or maybe it's making him feel this way, or what am I going to do about this? And I'm just less affected. And even when we were fighting, I was less affected emotionally by the whole thing. So I was just like, I don't even know how to really describe that. Like, well, for example, even when Mike made a video recently about being fucking suicidal, and he's going through this period, and he's telling me these things, and I'm like, there's this part of me that's going, we've been down this road before. It's the steroids, either shit or get off the pot type of.
That's what I'm saying. She literally couldn't give a fuck.
And it was not like I don't care about whether or not he kills himself. It was that I didn't believe it, and that I know this is the time of the trend. I even said that. I'm like, this is the time during the trend. Give it a couple of weeks. You'll be okay. But it wasn't the way I would typically respond at all. And I think in general, I was just, typically I'd be a basket case, and I was less affected. I was able to go, that's not what this is. I don't think that's what this really is. And so because I didn't think it's what it really was, I was not nearly as, what would you say, nearly as nurturing or supportive as I definitely would typically be and should have been.
So and she and I haven't talked a lot about this. I didn't, this is one of my fucking, here I go being honest fucking scenarios. There has definitively been a growing apart. I feel definitively like in the past 5 weeks we've been growing apart because of her, because of just how careless she has become to my point of views, to the things that I tell her. Like, I've been forced to learn how to self-soothe. I've been forced to learn how to, like, not need her, basically, as a source of, like, comfort, or as a source of, trying to steady my hand or bring me back to sanity. I felt very, very much on my own to cope with all of my own shit, where usually she's like, she's way more supportive. And I don't know what the long-term effect of this is going to be. There's a distinct possibility that this could permanently change our relationship, because I am learning for the first time in 9 years how to address a lot of my own shit and not need her input on it. And so where she's always been incredibly fucking pivotal and included in some of my internal processes, I'm not even bothering bringing them to her. And so like, for example, in that suicidal state that I was in, it's markedly different when like I've been there before and she was kind of like there to remind me like, hey, I think this is the trend. Like, I think this is, you know, like she was there to give some kind of clarity. And when I'm just like literally walking for hours on my own, trying to figure out how to create my own peace, it's making me need her less. And so it will be interesting to see if when she gets off cycle, assuming that she goes back to her normal state, whether I just forget, you know, everything that's just happened, or whether she's going to be on long enough that I solidify these new behaviors and stop coming to her for that, stop looking to get that need met at all. I don't know how that's going to work, honestly.
So, overall, with all of the things that we've just talked about, the positives and the negatives, what do you think about me staying on or getting off?
Well, it's like I told you, I think last night in the car or in bed, you know, the problem is, for her, in her estimation, I go from being a really relatively reasonable person. I don't know that she would ever call me stable, but I don't think I have anywhere near the kind of natural mood swings that she has during PMDD. And the trend makes me, there's extreme differences in my personality on steroids. So for me, with her Primo cycle, it's literally the lesser of the evils. So one thing to point out, since she's been on Primo, she hasn't had a period at all.
Yeah.
Up until the Primo, even with her hormone replacement, she was bleeding weekly.
I was bleeding daily.
She's had, since she's been on the Primo, she's had nothing that even remotely looks like anything possibly PMS related. And she has raging libido. She orgasms frequently. She's an enjoyable gym partner. She thinks linearly like I do. She thinks more black and white like I do. And when we have fights, it's easier for me to not take offense to her being what would otherwise be considered cruel or dismissive or, you know, careless, because I don't really blame her. I'm just kind of like, well, that's just the roids at play. Whereas when she's not on roids, everything about her personality and the way she treats me is her. And so I take it very personally and I hold it directly against her. When we fight and she's not on roids, it's solely her. She's the one that takes all of the blame. And so, as I was telling her the other day, it's just picking the lesser of two evils. Do I want to go back to the partner who's substantially more caring, nurturing, I think is generally more happy and upbeat, is sweet, is feminine, is nurturing, but absolutely doesn't care about sex? Maybe she comes, maybe she doesn't, has no fucking libido, no drive in the fucking gym. Her entire mode of operation is this female brain that makes no sense on any planet ever conceived by a fucking man, to where we absolutely cannot communicate about anything. And when we fight, her behavior toward me actually fucking hurts. Or would I rather have this person who's somewhat of a zombie, who's a bit of a fucking bot, who is not caring, compassionate, attentive to my needs emotionally, but has crazy fucking libido, crazy bed soaking, multiple fucking orgasms. Her body is looking as good as it's ever looked. I don't take personal offense to the things she says because I don't really hold them against her. It's like balancing those two things, you know? You never get everything you want in life. And so if you're asking me, you know, should you stay on? Like, I'm not fucking telling you to get off. That's totally up to you. It's always been up to you and about whether you're willing to put up with the side effects. Because the truly unfair difference here, and ladies, if there are ladies in the audience watching this fucking video, if you take anything from this video, you need to take this. This is an unfair situation for her. if I take Tren and all the shit that I've taken in my life, there is am I damaging my body? Possibly. Like, you know, are there deleterious effects to my psyche or my kidneys or my liver? You know, maybe, whatever. But if I decide to stop doing steroids tomorrow, the steroids did not change me as a person. I won't stay as big as I am. Like, I'll lose a lot of my aesthetic. But I could go out, like if she dropped dead, I could go out and get another girl and be totally fucking fine. I'm not going to have any lasting effects other than maybe being, you know, likely being forced to be on TRT for the rest of my life. Like that's probably the worst thing that's going to happen for me. If Sarah continues to do Primo or any other androgen, she's going to continue to damage her voice. She's going to continue to change the size of her clitoris. She's going to continue to have some psychological effects on her brain, if for no other reason than for extended periods of time, she was viewing the world through a lens that is not natural for a woman. And so if I drop dead, and she decides to drop all the steroids and never lift again, she's still going to have a damaged voice. She's still going to have a clitoral enlargement. She's still going to have had the experience of being on hormones. Her body is never going to look the same as it did. She's going to have pictures and experiences that she will never be able to replicate. And that could potentially affect the kind of partner that she might be able to have in the long term, or it could affect her. You know, I drop dead today of a heart attack, and 3 years down the road, she hasn't touched a fucking weight, and she's not even thinking about bodybuilding, and she's moved on to another career, and she's pursuing another guy or something, or being pursued by different guys, and she may live to massively regret everything she did, because right now it makes sense, because she's living in this world with me, and this is our life. And that's what's very unfair for women. When she stopped using hormones before, she completely lost the aesthetic that she had on Anavar, and yet her voice was still different. Her clitoris was still different. And with enough time, she will look like she will probably get to a state where it looks like she never lifted in life. And so here you have a body that's permanently changed and literally nothing to show for it except for an experience. And that's ultimately what you and every woman who ever attempts to do this, that's the decision you were ultimately making. It's like fucking getting a tattoo. That shit's there for the rest of your life. You better really fucking mean it. Because there's no undoing, you know, what's done.
And I think that these are things that when I'm not on, they're really stressful for me. And I'm like, I don't want to get on because of this or because of that. But when I'm on, I just don't care. And that's the problem. Or one of them.
That's the fucking problem. Anybody who tells you this shit is not addictive is fucking lying to you.
It was really hard before I got on the Primo. I was having a hard time. I'm going to the gym. I was going to the gym all the time, and my body just didn't look like it did when I was on Anavar, and it was disappointing and it was frustrating. And so it wasn't keeping me from going to the gym, but I was constantly looking at my body and feeling like embarrassed about it or not feeling strongly about it, even though it was, I'm sure, like, it was still really good for a 43-year-old woman, but it wasn't what I'd had. And so this is giving me more of what I'd had, and I really like it. I love it. And I don't want to go back. So, like, for me, I feel like with the exception, I'm struggling a little bit with the voice thing. And I don't want my clitoris to continue to grow, but I haven't had I haven't had the excessive body hair growth like I did before on something else, on testosterone, and my hair's not falling out anymore, I don't think. And I have so much motivation. I'm like getting things done during the day. I'm like going and accomplishing so many things that I wasn't before. Like, I love that part. I love feeling confident. And, but as of right now, the thing that would make me get off is that I don't want to do any damage to my relationships. And so if like my job, what I love to do is to take care. is to take care of Mike and to take care of the kids. And so if it's keeping me from being able to do that in a way that's positive for our relationship, that's the thing that would make me get off.
So, but
other than that,
for what is it called? For history's sake, what is the term? For posterity's sake, from your mental place right now, let's say that you're reaching peak serum concentration and things kind of level out, and I start feeling like you're not being as dismissive, or we work through our relationship things, and so the Primo's not causing any relationship problems. You're not getting increased acne. Your clitoris does not continue to enlarge. If you get like what's the limit here? Is this the kind of thing where you'd go, dude, I'm just gonna fucking stay on this like long term?
I could definitely see why somebody would. And if things stabilize and we got the relationship stuff handled, then I think that I would for sure stay on for the full 16 weeks. Maybe do some blood work and make sure that I'm not hurting myself in other ways. And then, I don't know.
That was the thing.
With the Anavar, it always gives me that psychological weight. By the time it's time to get off, I'm ready. Because I have this, this intensity, this constant intensity is so much. I don't have the same intensity with this. So unless that gets worse, I don't anticipate that same psychological weight that makes me ready to take a break. So it'll be a lot harder to take a break. I don't know what I will do.
Yeah, so that was the thing. I mean, that was one of the reasons that the whole reason that I even pushed or suggested Primo to begin with is because we were looking for a possible way to get a lot of these goods with the fewest number of bads, and we talked about the fact that when you're using Anavar and you can't stay on it long term, you're constantly in this state of flux where you have this great physique, and then because she's not trying to be a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
she's not trying to step on a stage. She's not trying to like exponentially build muscle. She's kind of using Primo in the same way that I use anabolics as like a lifestyle enhancement drug. And so you can't, can you do it with Anavar? Probably. But the exciting thing about the Primo was you're not, with the fucking Anavar, she's in there crushing pills up multiple times a day. This was like, hey, if we could get away with a couple injections a week, and you could flatline and you could stabilize and you could get a lot of benefits for the foreseeable future, then this could be a really positive thing. And obviously it's, way too early to tell, because, a week ago I was singing the praises of this, telling you it was every single positive and no negative. And then over the course of the last week, some significant negatives have emerged. And which is, again, like I said, not atypical for this period of the cycle. And so what we're both kind of thinking and hoping is that once she truly reaches serum concentration and stays there for a few weeks, just like me on any particular dose of Tren or whatever you take, your body seeks a state of homeostasis and everything levels out. And so we're going to try to go that far and see how she feels when things truly flatline, and then just reassess from there. I'm about to pull the plug on the Tren. I'm definitely feeling the weight of my fucking cycle. So, but this is not my video. So, what else do you have?
I think that's all I got.
All right, guys. Sorry, I'm not fucking feeling it today. I'm gonna go vomit, I think. And so, thank you for watching this video.
I'm gonna go be supportive.
What an ender. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.